This is Hannibal from the Hannibal TV.com with a lot of UFC and some MMA related news for you, courtesy of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Conor McGregor is always talking about fighting, but Jon Jones is now the biggest draw that UFC has in the company. The career of Jon Jones is not quite a beautiful one behind the scenes, as he's had numerous incidents that caused him a lot of problems over the years, including a hit and run accident, crash into a telephone pole that could have easily killed him and his passengers, but actually left him unhurt. He also had 2 drug suspensions from the UFC and multiple test failures that many believe were whitewashed and remain controversial in the way that most other sports. He would likely have had a longer suspension, not to mention the decision from the USDA side of things not testing him at all, even with his track record for months, well on suspension for positive test results for Turinabol, which is a steroid from my understanding. Dave Meltzer thinks he could say that with almost certainty there is probably only a handful of other fighters who were such big stars with his track record and still being allowed to compete in the sport. He had 2 driving under the influence charges in 2012, which he pled guilty to. In 2015, the hit and run charge he received probation and community service for, and in 2016 there was a charge of drag racing. Dave Meltzer says that he can be very charming, so there is an idea out there that he does get special treatment for sure. The latest alleged incident that he was a part of reportedly happened in April. It's a battery charge in a club that it's not so serious to him as far as a threat to his career, but because he's so charming to the media and at times the general public and is such a great fighter, he gets the benefit of the doubt with the idea he's grown up and trying to be a better person. He's actually accused of slapping a cocktail waitress at a strip club in her genitalia region, putting her down on his lap, kissing her neck, based on a report from the Albuquerque, New Mexico Police Department, which was first reported by KRQE, a local television station. Johns is 32 now, and he claims that he had no idea there was even an incident when he was asked about it. Without going into too much detail on these accusations, Jones has went on Twitter and told people that he's not in any trouble and to not be so quick to believe everything that they read on the internet. The UFC returned to San Antonio, Texas on July 20th for the UFC on ESPN4 that saw 9 straight decisions, followed by 3 first-round knockouts, and then another decision in the main event. The show was held at the AT&T Center and drew 9,255 fans for a gate of 841,821. It was the second event ever held at the arena. The first happened in June 2014, and the attendance and gate were higher this time. Leon Edwards got a convincing decision win over former lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos in the main event of the show. There was one missed weight during the weigh-ins as Jennifer Maia came in at 129 pounds, missing the flyweight limit by 3 pounds. She had taken the fight on short notice. The $50,000 bonuses went to Mario Batista and Jinso San for Fight of the Night, while the 2 Performance of the Night bonuses went to Walt Harris and Dan Hooker. UFC 243 is going to take place October 5th in Melbourne, Australia, with Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya for the middleweight title. And that's going to take place at the Marvel Stadium, which is where UFC set its current attendance record of 56,214 for the Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes fight. It's a different stadium than the one where WWE ran its October 6, 2018 Super Showdown event that drew 62,000 people. Chris Weidman's first fight in the light heavyweight division is scheduled against Dominic Reyes on October the 18th in Boston. This week's UFC event is going to be the UFC 240 pay-per-view show taking place July 27th from Rogers Place in Edmonton. UFC has been drawing very well all year, according to the Wrestling Observer. Even with some weak shows, for whatever reason, it's not like it's always a sellout, but business has continuously been strong. However, when UFC first came to Edmonton, they did an instant sellout and huge gate a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, the show was terrible, and it was so bad, they felt like they hurt the market, so they didn't come back for a long time. So this show might not draw as well as UFC has been doing. I guess we're going to find out. On Saturday, Tito Ortiz said that there's going to be a 30 for 30 documentary about his big fight that he had against Chuck Liddell. So I would suggest everyone, if they want to know more about that fight, search Tito Ortiz's interview with the Hannibal TV, and you're going to get a lot of detail on that if you don't want to wait for that. ESPN is also likely going to do a 30 for 30 or an E60 on Daniel Cormier very soon, as Dave Meltzer himself was interviewed for that particular show, according to this report. Tito Ortiz also says that if he wins the Combate Americas fight this October against Alberto El Patron, formerly Alberto Del Rio of the WWE, he wants Combate Americas and Bellator to run a joint show where he would like to challenge Ryan Bader. In Bellator news, former UFC fighter Miles Jury has signed a multi-fight deal here. He has won his first 15 pro fights before losing 4 of his last 6 in UFC. He'll debut September 27th as the main event of a show in Dublin against Benson Henderson.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.